And welcome everybody to the NARC All-Star 360 Sprint Cars at Lernerville. This is the eSports Racing Network, and I am Thomas Brandon. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight as we've got a very interesting race here on our hands, just for the fact that we have a little bit of a different playing field, and we'll get more into that and the tire model and the different track states that we've got now here on the sim. But right now, cars are out running in the track, and we'll see what it looks like. You can see already that the top is getting slicked off, and we do definitely have some interesting aspects to look at when it comes to the slick, particularly how much grip it's got, how much grip it doesn't have. So we'll talk about all that stuff tonight, as I will be being joined in the booth by my man Greg Lamy. So practice is finishing up right now, heading over to qualifying. And Greg, you there? All right, so I was just talking about the tire and the new track state. What do you think is going to be the key for these guys to run fast and finish up front tonight in this event?
Any testing and really to see exactly who has a good setup tonight. I know that we were just in a long conversation about how setups don't matter, comfortable and who's comfortable on these new tires and a good setup for them. But I think that I know a couple guys racing the Triple Crown with us last week and got a little bit of a head start. And, but I'm excited. I was one of those all haters against the update for a minute there, but after doing some practice and kind of getting it worked out, I think that it's going to be good. I think there's going to be some really close racing tonight and good battling from drop of the gate to the end at the finish line.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it is going to be some pretty good racing, as qualifying just wrapped up, and it looks like Bruce the Boss Klingen is going to be our quick time of the night, as he oh, never mind, I take that back. Just as I said it, Kenny Hoffman took it from him by 1/100th of a second, but still a good lap by Bruce, who was on a little hiatus, had himself a little vacation, but is back now. Looks like he's going to be second fast, followed by Schultz, Sherman, and Dudek, your top five. So really, really close on the times there. Just a 13-1 to, I mean, literally just a couple of hundred separating the top five drivers. So should be interesting to see, as we definitely have a nice full split here. Looks like we got a little over 30 cars. So should be some good racing here at Lernerville. Now, you've actually raced the 410s. You ran the Triple Crown. You ran the 410s here at Lernerville. What was your biggest takeaway from that race in terms of the track and the tire?
I honestly think that it's the dominance of one line. It doesn't really exist as much anymore. I know when we raced on Tuesday night, I believe, for the qualifier, you could definitely tell, I mean, as the track evolved throughout the night, that there was always one dominant line. There was always one that was just significantly faster than the others. Where on Friday night when we did the Triple Crown, I mean, it really was whatever your style was, whatever you felt more comfortable running, whether that was top, bottom, middle. I was even running some cut downs, which, I mean, I don't think I've ever run here at Lernerville ever. So it's really just where you want to be, and I think it's making for closer racing, because you're not able to just run away in that top line if you can hit the wall line or creep the bottom anymore. So I'm excited. I have noticed in the 360s a little bit, it does seem to stick a little bit lower on the track longer. That top can go away a little bit just because of the horsepower limitations, but I still expect really, really good racing tonight.
And on the pole here for heat race number 1 with the quick time is Kenny Hoffman, and outside of Hoffman, our defending series champion Justin Sherman on the inside of row number 2 is Timothy Alton, and outside of Alton, the big block assassin, Kurt Ney.
And it looks like starting in row 3, we've got Joshua Berkey, we've got Joe Howe outside of him, Mace Germain and Brandon Garmin starting in row number, would that be 5? Or no, 4?
4, yeah. And then on the inside of row 5, we've got Jason Butterfield, and outside of him, Robert Boggs, and riding shotgun tonight, Patrick Cobb. So, 10 laps. Top 4 will go straight to the feature, and it's going to be Hoffman and Sherman with his new black and green paint scheme. Sherman not big on graphics. In fact, you know, if I'm pretty sure that if he could drive a solid color car, just one color, he'd probably go for that. He wouldn't run a number if he didn't have to.
I know, plain Jane Justin Sherman
There
on the
you go.
outside, and Kenny Hoffman in the Zemco car tonight.
And we are underway as Hoffman jumps out to a quick lead and runs right up to the top. We know the top here is always dominant. Oh, and Alton and Sherman get together. They're coming out of turn 2. And that's going to send them off the track. Tough break for those guys as Hoffman is now pulled away here with a pretty quick lead over Justin Sherman. And Sherman looks for something on the low side, but nothing seems to be there yet.
That's what I'm talking about. If you watch them go through 1 and 2, I mean, Justin's running a little bit lower of a line. Kenny's running the top, and neither one's gaining, neither one's losing. It's very consistent from top to bottom of the track right now. And yeah, I mean, Kenny might be pulling a little bit ahead, but it's very minimal.
Yeah, it is. Their times are so close right now as it's Hoffman, Sherman, followed by Berkey, and then Brandon Garmin in the 4th and final transfer spot here in heat race number 1 as we hit lap number 5.
Sleepy Grandpa, Brandon Garmin, just plodding away, getting there into that 4th spot, taking advantage of some bad luck for some other drivers. So, good friend of mine, so pulling for him.
Always one of the best dudes in SSR. He really is.
When he's awake.
When he's awake, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You don't earn the name Sleepy because you're full of life and energy.
Kenny and Justin are putting on a clinic right now on how to run the top with this new tire model. Justin is off the edge.
Justin just goes off the edge there, right as you said it. Tough break for him, but I'm sure he'll find his way back through the consolations, hopefully, as he's definitely shown to have the speed. So Hoffman with a huge lead now over second place, Joshua Berkey, Brandon Garmin, and that's going to actually give the 4th and final transfer spot there to Jason Butterfield. So lucky him as he's got that last transfer spot locked up with Patrick Cobb and Robert Boggs trying to close in on him here as we are last lap in heat race number 1 as Hoffman will come out of turn 4 and get the win. So that's going to put him on the pole for tonight's 30-lap A main event.
Yeah, the one thing I would say, I mean, you were talking about Justin coming to the field. Me and Tyler have been doing some testing this week and ghosted a couple official races. And one thing I have noticed is, I mean, it is much more difficult to pass now. It takes a little bit more time and setup, and I hate when people say that the game is easier now. I don't think it's because it's easier. Easier for those who were not used to running the top or way on the bottom. They have that ability to creep in the middle or cut down or slide and things like that, where, like I said, it opens up more line options, and maybe that person's just better at those types of lines versus the guys who used to dominate everything, just rip the lip or just rip the bottom line. So I think that it just makes that more competitive nature. So you got to be good in all facets of the night if you want to compete.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things that the new tire has brought out. We'll see tomorrow in the patch if there's any changes to it. I'm kind of thinking there might be a tweak to it. We'll have to wait and see, but you're 100% correct. Now momentum is so important. I mean, it's always been important with these cars, but now they kind of remind me a little bit of the big blocks. Not as bad as the big blocks, but you've got to be good. You've got to be consistent. One bobble can cost you a ton of time, and when that opportunity is there, you got to take it, because they just don't come as often as they used to. You're not just going to find that line that no one else is running and then just gain 0.3 a second a lap and then blow right by them. It takes time. You got to work them.
Yeah, and I've seen some pretty good drivers, world-class level drivers, not making official features because they got bobbled in their heat and missed the call or missed the spot or got wrecked or whatever the situation was. But I mean, and these were fairly high strength of field races, but I mean, nothing that these guys should miss a feature in ever. And this new tire model has equalized a lot. And
Yes, it has. And we will see how it plays out as we have got heat race number 2 here on the track, as it is Klingen and Dudek on the pole on the front row, leading us to the green flag, and Klingen jumps out to an early lead as he brings Weigel with him on the bottom there. Weigel going to try to get the run there, but is not able to as Dudek powers around on the top. The top side looks to just still be a little too fast for the bottom.
Klingen caught him thinking on the start, it looked like there. He definitely was playing a little mind games with Dudek, and Dudek hesitated, and Klingen was gone.
Yes, he was, and it looks like Weigel's going to make his way around Dudek, as Dudek looks like he's stuck on the bottom, going to get freight trained, as you've got 2 or 3 cars just making their way right past him. You've got Weigel, Voiles able to get around Dudek, and it looks like McCartney's going to try to get around Dudek too, as those guys are battling for that
tapped.
last... Oh, no. That's going to put
and
McCartney
Klingen are
in.
going after it. I don't know if we're looking at right now, but Klingen and Weigel are putting on a show up front here of exactly what we were talking about, how that middle and top can both be fast, and they're matching each other right now.
Yes, they are. Right now, they are literally within 1/10 of each other. Back and forth, they're laying down almost identical laps as Weigel tries to make the slider, gives Klingen some room so they don't go off the track, and Klingen able to get back up and challenge him. But looks like Weigel's got just a little bit more drive coming out of the corner there, especially in turn 2.
Yeah, in turn 2, he's definitely got the thing hooked up, and 3 and 4 around the top. I mean, here at Lernerville, old tire model, new tire model, doesn't matter. There's always been fast because of that momentum. Oh, 92 off the track.
Yep, and that was McCartney who had gotten up to 4th when we saw Dudek go off, and tough break for him.
I can't tell who's winning right now, actually, because they go across the line at such a close pace.
Yeah, it just goes back and forth. Yeah, well, look, that time Weigel got the lead. But Klingen's going to throw the slide job back, and he clears it that time coming out of 4 as we've got 2 laps to go. Or no, last lap here.
This is last lap. Chris Schaefer's making a play.
Yes, he
Can he
is.
make it work? Klingen
throws a slide job, and Weigel's got nowhere to go, and Klingen gets the win. So Klingen, smart there, was able to throw the slide job, and Weigel could not cut back underneath because Schaefer was right there. So heck of a move for Bruce Klingen there to get the win here in heat race number 2. That'll put him outside front row in the 30-lap A main event.
Yeah, he was smart too. He didn't overreact going into turns 1 and 2 and set himself up. He knew that Weigel might have had a little bit more speed than him, but he knew if he could shut him down coming out of 4, there was nothing he could do.
Yeah. And he played that to perfection. That was a heck of a job by him in that heat race.
Smart racing.
Very smart. And that's going to be the key, like you talked about, with this tire. The tire has equalized a lot of the little quirks that we had before where you could just find that line and you were faster than everybody else. Now you've got to, I think it's really brought out a lot more racing.
Racecraft.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in the long run, that's going to be a very good thing. As we've got heat race number 3 here pulling out onto the track. And on the pole, we've got Tyler Schultz, and outside of Schultz is Ryan Washok. On the inside of row number 2 is Jareth Pike, and outside of Pike is Philip Crowich.
And we got Jared Culberson and Cale Heibel pulling up on row 3. One of my good buddies here on row 4, Dylan Evers and Bryce Barris.
And then in row 5, we've got Caleb Wankel on the inside with Anthony Woodall on the outside. And riding shotgun here in heat race number 3 is Todd Hutton. So, 10 laps. Top 4 will go straight to the A main. And I believe, if I'm looking correctly at the thing here. I think this is our third and final heat race. So,
Looks like it. Looks like we'll move
yep.
into the mains after this. One thing I'm super hyped about in this race right now is Jareth Pike has color on his car.
I
Last
know it's
time I
incredible.
announced it, I was calling him Plain Jane along with Justin Sherman, but that car is sweet. I know who built that car, Dan Chase Kelly there. It looks phenomenal.
Yes, it does. As we are underway, and Schultz jumps out to a lead over Washock as they head into 1 and out of 2. And Pike looking to make it 3 wide out of turn 2 here early on in heat race number 3. Oh, and Schultz almost went off the track there.
There's good battling all the way through this. As this track slicks out and it kind of makes people move, there's good battle. I mean, they're all in the 2 corners right now, the whole field.
Schultz putting it right on the lip. You can see half of his right rear tire is hanging off the edge of the track there as he's going around the top in 1 and 2. And Washock's got to run. Washock, oh, and Pike gets turned around coming out of 4, and that's going to end his heat race early. So tough break for Jareth Pike as he had battling there for a transfer spot. And back up front here, Washock and Schultz battling for the lead as now Philip Croach is coming in to join the party, making this a 3-way fight for number 1.
Yeah, he made a mistake and got himself a little too rotated coming into out of 3 and 4. And that's all it takes with this new tire model. It's just that little subtle blip, and look what happens. Schultz gaps him, Croach gets around him.
Yeah, you cannot break these things sideways. It's just like they run them in real life. You got to try to keep them as straight as possible, man. These things do not like to be sideways. They've got the wing on them for a reason. Get them stuck to the track and keep them straight.
Oh, Wayshock's coming back. He is making a push for that 2nd place.
Yes, he is. But back up front, it is all Tyler Schultz as we've got 2 laps to go here in heat race number 3 as Schultz has got himself a nice little gap, 1 second over 2nd place Philip Croach, followed by Ryan Washock, and then Jared Culbertson in that 4th and final transfer spot here in heat race number 3.
Yeah, I know that Ryan Wayshock has been making quite a bit of effort to start his nights better, and it looks like his qualifying went great. He had made it straight through in his heat race, so congrats to him. I know he's been putting in a lot of work.
Yeah, he has definitely been putting in a lot of effort. I talked to him last week, and even right after the new tire dropped, he was out turning a few hundred laps, getting these things dialed in, and you can see that it's definitely starting to pay off. That's always been one of his issues, he said, was his qualifying. If he could start the night better, you know, it would lead to it. Obviously, it's such a huge component when everything is run straight up, and he has shown a lot of speed before. He's already won the Hard Charger Award like twice this year. We've only had like 3 races, so if he can start up front, you know, we could definitely see him contend for those wins. So it'll be interesting to see with him starting up front tonight in the feature how he can finish off the night. But
Yeah,
we are on the way.
Oh, go on, buddy.
Oh, I was going to say, we are on our way to the consolations as the C main is now gridding up. But what were you saying about qualifying, Greg?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, everybody that I work with or talk with, and they ask me what to work on. I mean, I always talk about qualifying. It's the only lap on the entire night you can pass every other driver. There's no other lap like it. And yes, you maybe not qualify first every single time, but if you can put yourself in a good position in that top 5, top 10 every single night, you're gonna increase your odds to be on the podium, to win, to be in the points at the end of a season infinitely. And this new tire model, I think, amplifies that. It makes it even more important.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's so much harder to pass now. So, C main on the track, 8 laps. Top 4 will go to the B main, and on the pole here in the C main is Todd Hutton. Outside of Hutton is Kurt Ney. On the inside of row number 2, we've got Christian McCartney, and outside of McCartney is Caleb Wankel.
We got Mace Germain on starting P5. We got Brandon Voiles outside of him, Bryce Barris and Tim Alton starting on the next row, and then we got Zach Miller and Jareth Pike rounding out the field here for the C main. So it's a short race here in the C main, so those guys in the back are gonna have to get it moving if they want to make it in. But top four going to the next round.
Yes, and definitely some fast drivers in this race. We saw some guys have some trouble while they were running in transfer spots in the heat races. So it'll be interesting to see if they can make their way up into the top four as we are underway. And Hutton jumps out to a quick lead with Nay right behind him, looking to work that high side. Hutton goes right down to the bottom, bringing McCartney with him. So already you can see that the line has moved down. These guys are no longer running top. And big pile up in the back, and that's going to collect, it looks like, the whole field. We've only got, what, 4 cars now on the track.
Gareth Pike's made it through. He took a hard hit, so that car might be damaged. But
and Mace Germain just got loose, yeah. And that's going to give Pike the opportunity to get around him. So now we got a battle here for the 4th and final transfer spot. And Pike's got plenty of time to get around him.
I was just gonna say that Pike needed somebody else to have some bad luck, because of looks like I can see the nose wings crumpled up, the wheels look a little turned out, so he's just got to keep it alive.
That's right, and back up front, it is all Christian McCartney. McCartney got the lead from Todd Hutton while all that craziness was going on in the back, and you can see he is pulling away. He's definitely got a fast car tonight. He had some tough luck in the heat race when he was running in a transfer spot, and it looks like he's still got the speed as he is slowly pulling away from both Hutton and Nay here in the C main.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, that last week, or the last time I was announcing, me and Shay joked about McCartney possibly having some Beatles money from his great
his
lost
inheritance.
Uncle
Yeah.
Paul. Yeah, but it looks like they're putting that money to good use with some testing this week, and that car does look fast.
Yes, it does, as he has got himself a nice size lead over second place Todd Hutton and Kurt Nay right behind him, and Jareth Pike has got that last transfer spot locked up, even with his damaged car, as he has been pulling away from Mace Germain as we are here on the white flag lap. Oh, no, checkered flag, excuse me.
Final lap, only 8 laps.
Final lap, that's right.
So, I'm happy to see Jareth make it through. I mean, I know it was due to some bad luck, but he was fast in his heat and had some bad luck there, so just kind of the way things go in racing.
Yes, it is. Sometimes you're flush and sometimes you're bust. So we'll see if he can pull it out. He's going to have 10 laps now to come from the back of the B main here. And he's got a lot more people make it. That's right. A lot more people are going to be making it. So we took 12 out of the heat races. We'll be taking 12 out of this B main. So B main is now greeting up, and on the pole we've got Patrick Cobb, and outside of Cobb is Kevin Grettenberger. On the inside of row number 2 is Dylan Evers, and outside of Evers is Robert Boggs.
And then we got Brent Hagen and Cale Heibel in the next row. Justin Sherman, last year's points champion, in a transfer spot in the B, so that's a good place to be, and hopefully he can move forward to get a better start. And then Christian, Mark Antonio, and Anthony Woodhall.
Outside of Woodall, we've got Joe Howe, and then on the inside of row number 6 is Kyle Matson, and outside of Matson is your C main winner, Christian McCartney. After McCartney, we've got Todd Hutton and Kurt Day and Jareth Pike rounding out the B main event. So 10 laps, the top 12. So we were just talking about Pike. He only needs to gain a few spots here to make it into tonight's 30-lap A main event.
Yeah, there's only 3 guys going home. I mean, we've seen some bad luck as the track has slipped off a little bit here. So I think keeping your nose clean is going to be key for those guys coming from the back. So let's see how it goes.
Absolutely. When you have to play the alphabet soup, a lot of times if you can just keep yourself clean, you can usually make your way in. Not always, but especially on these nights where you've got 12 cars or 8 cars going to the feature. If you can just stay clean, you can usually find your way into that feature. So we'll see what happens here as the pace truck pulls off the track, and we are ready to go racing. So Cobb, Grettenberger, Evers, and Boggs, your top 4 bringing us in as we are underway, and Cobb jumps out to a quick lead with Evers.
There was some bad luck on the start already. It looks like Cale Heibel got together with somebody.
Man, that is a tough break right there. As Heil bolted Heibolt was up in a transfer spot and now finds himself towards the back of the pack.
Hopefully he finishes it out, and like the same thing that happened with Pike, he can have some of his bad luck turn into good luck.
Absolutely. As up front, we've got Dylan Evers, who jumped out to the lead there with all that craziness going on, and Justin Sherman making his way up. Sherman already in a transfer spot, but definitely doesn't want to have to start at the back of the feature. He's got a fast car. He qualified up front tonight, was running second place in the first heat race, so he's going to try to position himself to get as close as he can to the front of that feature so he doesn't have to pass a lot of cars in that 30-lap main event.
Yeah, especially because his arch enemy, his rival Kenny Hoffman's starting on the pole of this one, so I'm sure Justin wants to get every position he can before this feature starts.
Absolutely. You know, when you've got a rivalry that is, you know, only bested by Austin Powers and Dr. Evil, you've got to do everything you can to make sure that you can overcome that. And Sherman is definitely on the path to doing that as he is challenging Evers for the #1 spot here in this B main as we've got just 3 laps to go.
He's definitely got it hooked up. Oh, in turns 1 and 2. Evers has a really good line in 3 and 4, or had a really good line until he got a little sideways there that time. And we got
Brent
a new
Hagen.
Brent Hagen just ripping the lip around the top, and
3-way battle here for the lead as these guys are duking it out to see who's going to be able to start in that 13th position in that 30-lap A main event.
if I was in Dylan's ear right now, I would be telling him to possibly pull that wing back a little bit. He looks really loose coming into and out of the corners right now. He's fast when he hits it, but his consistency's been a little off in this one. And I know Dylan, another one of those drivers I work with that and hang out with quite a bit, that has been putting in a lot of work since the tire model came out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
And it paid off as he has brought home the win here in the B main. So it was Evers, Hagen, Sherman, Grettenberger, Mark Antonio, Boggs, Pike, and some other drivers because it changed over. Couldn't see the rest. But we'll get to our
I got it here if you'd
in
like.
just a second.
Got Pike, Kurt Ney, Anthony Woodhall, Todd Hutton, Kyle Madsen, and Christian McCartney rounding out the top 12 there for you.
All right, so they will be going on to the 30-lap A main event, and we are on the warm-up, which I am sure they are not going to do. The track seems to be slicking off. Actually, pretty good. The track seems really racy. I don't think they need to mess with it. They just let it roll over, and we should have a pretty exciting race on our hands here.
I'm actually going to shoot some good luck over to some of my buddies that are in this one, and hoping that they can sweep the podium tonight. I feel good and confident. Like I said, we've been putting in the work, and they've been doing some testing with us, and I feel confident that their sets will be good. They're going to be comfortable on these tires, so super excited.
Yeah, it should be a fun race. I'm looking for them to definitely have a good night, as I'm really interested to see how our man, the boss, can do tonight. He was fast in qualifying. He was fast in the heat race. Was able to get that #1 spot. He'll be starting towards the front there on the outside pole. It'd be interesting to see how he does. I'm looking for him to have a really good night tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And you know as well as anybody that sometimes a break can be beneficial, not a hindrance. So Bruce having a few days off over the last, or a few weeks off of the series over the last couple of weeks, I think might have played in his favor.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes that can happen, man. You take some time away, and when you come back, things just seem to be better. You know, sometimes a break is a good thing. All right, as we have got our A main event on the track, and on the pole, your Heat Race 1 winner, Kenny Hoffman, and outside of Hoffman is Bruce the Boss Klingen. On the inside of row number 2, we've got Tyler Schultz, and outside of Schultz is Joshua Berkey.
And it looks like we got Jeremy Weigel starting on the inside of row three. With outside of him is Phil Croash. Got Sleepy Grandpa Brandon Garmin starting inside of row 4 with Chris Schaefer outside of him.
On the inside of row 5, we've got Ryan Washock, and outside of Washock, we've got Jason Butterfield. In row number 6 is Connor Dudek, and outside of Dudek is Jared Culbertson.
Then we got Dylan Evers starting on the inside there, inside of Brent Hagan, Justin Sherman, and Kevin Grettenberger.
With Chris Marcantonio, Robert Boggs, then Pike, Ney, Woodall, Hutton, Matson, and McCartney riding shotgun here in the A main event. So 30 laps for tonight's feature win here in the NARC All-Stars, and we are underway as Hoffman jumps out to the lead with Klingen and Schultz right behind him.
There's a caution already.
Yeah, caution on the track.
See what happened here. That collected Justin Sherman, Dylan Evers, and Brandon Garmin there. Let's see if anybody else got collected in that one there. It looks like maybe Pike. Tough way to start the main event there. And Grettenberger. Some others looking like they're going to get some repairs here too. So we've got Pike in the pits. We got Grettenberger in the pits. We've had Garmin, Sherman. Anybody else up there in the pits that we can see? Evers.
Oh, tough break for those guys. Not the way they were wanting to start this A main event. Definitely don't want to get into an incident at the start of the race.
Yeah, tough way to start it, but hey, you know what? It's a long race, plenty of laps left to go, and Pike has been the bearer of bad and good luck tonight, so see where it lands.
Absolutely. Still a lot of racing left to go as Kenny Hoffman, our leader, will bring us to the green flag, and we are underway, and he jumps out to a good-sized lead there with Klingen, Schultz, and Berkey all battling there with Weigel close behind him. So battle here for second, third, fourth, and fifth as Hoffman is already slowly starting to pull himself away from the pack.
Kenny is running a very familiar line. This is actually the line that I ran in the Triple Crown race the other night, and while that tack is on the bottom, it seems to be fast as long as you can work the throttle around the bottom. So Kenny did his homework coming to this race.
He did, and he looks fast right now at the start of this, as he is definitely the fastest car on the track right now, as he looks to be about a half a tenth better than everybody else so far, at least the front cars here, as he is slowly pulling away from Klingen, who's got his hands full with Tyler Schultz all over his back bumper trying to get around him.
That time Schultz and Klingen matched Kenny, so they might be finding a line of their own that's working now. So
yeah, Klingen looks like he's running kind of a slider line there in 1 and 2, and it looks to be working now for him. Yeah, they're starting to pull up on Kenny. Kenny's not pulling away from him. We'll have to see if Kenny sticks with that line now, if he's going to start changing it up. As Klingen looks to change up his line now, tries a little bit different there, comes out top. Got a decent run there, but it's hard to see when you try something like that. If you're not running a delta bar or something, it's hard to know whether or not your lap was faster when you're trying to just judge it based on the perspective of, did I catch the guy in front of me? You know, when they're far away like that.
absolutely, it's definitely difficult, especially at a track like Lernerville too, where the corners are so sharp. I always feel like I'm catching somebody coming into a corner and losing them off of it. That's just the dynamic of this track, the way it works. So I think that that delta bar is crucial, or having a really good spotter.
Yeah, to let you know those things. As Klingon there had a little bobble, and that allowed Schultz to get around him, and now Krowich is looking to do the same thing. As, like we talked about earlier, one little mistake and it kills your momentum, and all of a sudden you got people just passing you. So tough break for Klingon, as he has now dropped to fourth, and he's got Weigel all over his back bumper, followed by Berkey, Washok, Dudek, Culbertson, and Schaefer right now rounding out your top 10. But back up front, it is all Kenny Hoffman, as he has got himself a nice lead here over our second place car of Tyler Schultz. Hoffman right about 0.7 of a second, but Schultz trying different lines, seeing if he can make something work.
And sooner or later, lap traffic will become a factor here. They're not far off of it, so
Hoffman running that line really, really well, as he is just hitting that bottom perfect, and then the top coming out of 3 and 4. Looking really
he went
good
a little
right now.
hard there, a little high, but kept it smooth, kept it straight coming off.
Yeah, he did, but Schultz is gaining on him. Hoffman had about a 0.7 of a second lead. It's now down to less than half of a second, as Schultz is starting to close in slowly but surely on Hoffman, and so is Philip Croach. Croach is gaining on both these guys as well.
Yeah, from the lap times last lap, Schultz and Croach were almost 0.2 faster with Kenny's mistake, so they definitely closed up quite a bit there. So there's blood in the water.
They have. And it almost looks like those guys seem to have their wing back a little bit further than Kenny. Might be giving them a little bit extra drive coming out of the corner as this track gets more and more slick, and now Hoffman is caught up to the tail end of the field. So just like you said, lap traffic already starting to play a role, as we've got 10 laps to go here in this 30-lap main event.
Yeah, they're creeping up close, and this is exactly what we talked about, where it's just a little bit harder to pass right now. It's you can tell Schultz is faster. You can see he has speed right now, but it's just to find that space and that traction to get past somebody is very difficult.
Absolutely. You've got to build your momentum, and once you get it, you've got to take the opportunity when it comes. And right now, Hoffman's doing a good job of holding off Schultz, but Schultz trying to get a run there on the outside coming out of 2.
Schultz is trying something. Let's see if it works.
Oh, and Hoffman able to get around him, as it looked like the lap car held up Schultz there for just a split second, allowing Hoffman to get back around him on the top side out of 4.
I know that this doesn't make a difference in iRacing, but that almost was like Schultz got caught in a little dirty air there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Behind some lap cars, and Kenny just made it around cleanly. And Kenny's doing great getting through traffic, but Schultz is still right on his bumper. And Kroish is not out of it. He's right there. Any mistake between these two battling, there he is.
Absolutely. One of the most important things is being able to take advantage of an opportunity when it presents himself, and Kroish has put himself in a position to do that, as these 3 guys are Oh no, and Schultz goes off the back of the track in 2. That is a tough break for him, as he was challenging for the lead, and that is going to give the 3rd and final podium spot to Bruce Klingon as of right now, as we are on lap 29. Just 2 laps to go here, as it is Kenny Hoffman up front. So Hoffman with a bit of luck there with Schultz falling off the track, as Croach doesn't look like he's going to be close enough to make a move here, as we are 1 lap to go in this 30-lap main event.
Turn 1 and 2 here is deadly. It is deadly. So I've been on the winning and losing side of that fall there. So I
And
feel for Tyler Schultz there.
yeah, that's a tough break for him, but a good one for our winner, Kenny Hoffman, as he brings home the victory in tonight's NARC All-Star main event here at Lernerville. So, our feature rundown in tonight's 30-lap A main event, presented by Personal Evolution Company. Our winner is Kenny Hoffman, and second was Philip Croach, and that final podium spot goes to Bruce Klingen. Then we've got Jeremy Weigel, Ryan Washuk rounding out the top 5. Justin Sherman making his way up into 6th place, having to come through the B main. Definitely a good finish for him. Joshua Berkey, Jareth Pike made the top 10 after playing the alphabet soup. So a good night for him, good comeback for him. Brandon Garman, Christian McCartney, and then we've got Connor Dudek, Anthony Woodall, Brent Hagan, Schaefer, Mark Antonio, Hutton, Matson, Culbertson, Schultz dropped to 19th. Tough break for him after running up front all night long. Then we got Kurt A, Robert Boggs, Jason Butterfield, Dylan Evers, and Kevin Grettenberger. So Kenny Hoffman, our winner, and we're going to see if we can get these guys in the booth with us. But before we do, Greg, what was the biggest thing that you saw Hoffman do tonight on the track?
I mean, did a lot of things right tonight. I think. I mean, it all comes up to preparation, though. I think that Kenny was well prepared coming into this race, and I'm sure the other two that were on the podium either were well prepared themselves or run for very well prepared teams that were able to help them out and get them ready to go. So, shout out to all 3 of the podium runners tonight.
Yep, and speaking of our podium runners, we've got our winner for tonight's main event, Kenny Hoffman, here with us. Kenny, heck of a run. You got up and you ran a awesome race. What was your plan going in, and how were you able to execute it in this 30-lap feature?
My plan was not fall off the track. I usually really struggle
Good
here.
plan.
I felt pretty good in the bottom to begin the race, and then once we hit lap traffic, got a nice long green flag run in. I knew I just needed to keep my momentum up, but I didn't run it as perfect as I wanted to. I was just too focused about keeping it marks. Forgot about a little, like pulling the wing back and all that stuff. So, but car felt good. And it was a fun racing up front with everybody.
Well, it was definitely a fun race to watch. You had an awesome run tonight. Yeah, you got the grand shalom as you set fast time, won your heat race, and won the feature. So before we let you go, do you have any friends, family, sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yeah, everyone over at Elite Sim Racing, all the team sponsors, Personal Evolution Company, School Sim Racings, Whiskey Oval TV. If you're new, learning dirt, check out the new School Sim Racing website. And just shout out to everybody else on the team.
All right, man. Well, that is your winner, Kenny Hoffman. Kenny, awesome run tonight, and we'll hopefully talk to you next week.
Yep, thank you.
All right, so joining us now in the booth, our second place finisher, Philip Croach. Philip, awesome run tonight. You were able to make it up to second place. Tell me, how was the car, and what was your plan going into the feature tonight?
Yeah, the car felt really good. I think my plan the whole night was to really concentrate on trying to keep my momentum up and just run the high line the whole time. And I felt like 1 and 2, the top 2 guys, Kenny and Schultz, they were running kind of a low line in 1 and 2, and I started to run the high line, and I felt like I was gaining on them until we ran into lap traffic.
Well, you definitely had yourself a good run going there. There was times you seemed to be a little bit faster. You were able to pull up to that second place finish there when Schultz had a little bit of bad luck. So an awesome run for you. Before we let you go, do you got any friends, family, sponsor you'd like to shout out there?
Yeah, just like to, I guess, thank the family, of course, letting me have fun race sim at nights, and thank you guys for putting on the league and the broadcast, and then all the guys over at FSI Motorsports, Nodak Racing. Yeah, so thanks, guys.
Oh, no problem. We are happy to do it, especially when we have good racing like this. So, Philip, awesome run tonight, and hopefully we will get to talk to you again next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, that was your second place finisher, Philip Croach, and we are now joined in the booth by the man, the myth, the boss, Bruce Klingen. Bruce, awesome run tonight. You had a heck of a car. What did it feel like? How'd the track feel to you? How'd the car feel to you? And what was your plan in the race tonight?
My plan really was to just go to the top and stay there, and I got into a little bit of contact there in the first 10 laps, and I got stuck, pushed back a little bit, and I pushed too hard. I do believe I had something for Kenny. He had such a big gap, and with the rule changes that came out last week, the cars are just closer and closer. But man, I don't know what it is about the rule changes in this track. We had a major rule change last year on the midgets, and I came to this track and won in the midgets. And we had a big rule change, and I come to this track and sit on the podium. My goal all season, just to sit on the podium. That's it. That's all I'm after.
All right.
Top three or nothing.
All right. Well, you heard it, iRacing. More rule changes. It helps Bruce Klingen. So get out there. We got a patch tomorrow, so hopefully we'll see you in Victory Lane tomorrow night. Then is that what you're saying?
It could happen. Just hold on to my butt, right?
I hope so. That would be awesome, man. Well, man, heck of a race tonight to get a third place. Before we let you go, do you got any family, friends, sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I mean, all the elbows up guys, especially now that we're getting back into the fall. This last week's totally felt like a team again. We've all been racing together and having a lot of fun, and not just those guys that are on the team, but the sponsors, SSR being one, Flow Racing, Anderson Speedway, Motorsports Beats, Jessup Logistics, Paints by Tunican, Herget Real Estate, BS Air, Over the Wall Photography, Catch Fence Apparel, Roof Co, Fairway Independent Mortgage. I mean, all those guys. I mean, they help us come out here and try things out. And every once in a while, you stumble on something good, and I think I did tonight.
Absolutely, you did. You had a heck of a car and a heck of a run, man. So, Bruce Klingen, your third place finisher. Bruce, awesome run, and hopefully we will get to talk to you again next week.
Yeah, thanks. See you later.
Have a good one. All right, Greg. Well, that is going to do it. Closing thoughts on tonight's race before we go?
I mean, it went very similar to what I thought. I mean, good racing all night long from Heat 1 to the checkered flag flew. So, pumped to see another race go so well with the tire model, and I'm excited to get back out there and put in some laps myself. So I'll close it off with great job to the top three and everybody involved, and shout out to SSR and Personal Evolution Company, everybody here that puts this together.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you very much to our sponsors. And thank you very much for helping me in the booth tonight. And so one more time before we go, your winner, Kenny Hoffman, followed by Philip Croach, Bruce Klingen, Jeremy Weigel, and Ryan Washock, your top five, with Sherman, Berkey, Pike, Garmin, and McCartney rounding out your top 10. So that is going to do it here from Lernerville and for the Esports Racing Network. My name is Thomas Brandon, joined by the man, Greg Lamy, and thank you guys very much for joining us. And until next week, as always, good luck, good racing, have a good night.